leader in sports television.
Don't drink and drive. A public service message from ABC.
Spencer for Hire, the series that the Newark Star-Ledger calls the best new drama series of the season. The series that the Dallas Times-Herald calls one of the few legitimate network quality shows. Robert Urich, the man the New York Times calls the perfect television star. And beginning next Tuesday, Spencer for Hire moves to Tuesdays at 10, 9 Central, following Moonlighting.
The crime was a grisly murder, the punishment handed down by a Dallas jury tonight. And a Dallas Baptist home for abused children becomes the target of a state investigation. These stories, plus I'll have a perspective on violence at the state fair. All next on the News 8 Update.
The entire company relied on Jim sending a package somewhere overnight. Then they sent Jim somewhere overnight. Next time, send it Federal Express.
Delta gets you there, non-stop, to Los Angeles, Chicago, and New York, to Atlanta, and all the major resorts in Florida. And Delta gets you non-stop to Europe, Hawaii, and the islands. In all, Delta has 170 flights a day from DFW to more than 100 cities in the U.S. and overseas. Delta gets you there.
Woody, here's your expense money. And bring back a heavy hitter.
On your way to another town, you can't spend a lot, but you know how to get around. Avis makes it easy, easy on the traveler, yeah.
Avis tries harder. Our super value rates give you more for less.
Bush Leagues, college towns, and lots make the rounds.
Brian, number 2.
Avis makes it easy, easy on the traveler, yeah.
Woody, the kid's great. Who tipped you off?
His mother. Avis, so easy.
The spirit of Texas on
This is the News 8 Update with Tracy Rowlett, John Criswell, Troy Dungan with weather, and Dale Hansen on sports.
A 26-year-old Garland man tonight was sentenced to 75 years in prison and fined $5,000 for the murder of his wife. After deliberating more than 8 hours, the 8-woman, 4-man jury tonight delivered its verdict against Kelvin Warren.
Warren was convicted of the January 1983 strangulation of his wife, Charlene. The young woman had been choked and then beheaded. Her body was found at the couple's Garland apartment. Police found her severed head in Dallas at White Rock Creek. At the time, Warren admitted to police that he was responsible for the crime. Defense lawyers introduced testimony from 3 psychiatrists trying to prove Warren was not guilty by reason of insanity. Warren's lawyer says he'll appeal the decision and ask for a new trial, partly because Channel 8 News photographer David Cheka was allowed to sit in on the jury. Cheka photographed the crime scene in 1983. And the lawyer for the man accused of killing 20-year-old Lisa Griffin today tried to portray her as a young woman depressed over an abortion, a bad check charge, and recurring money problems. Griffin is one of 11 young women in Fort Worth killed during the past year. 19-year-old Michael Wayne Gooden is charged with her murder, but Gooden claims he shot Griffin once in the head and left her to die near a set of railroad tracks because Griffin was depressed and wanted to commit suicide. During testimony today, Griffin's mother said she was not aware of her daughter's bad check charge, and she said her daughter was upset but not depressed over a recent abortion. But under cross-examination, Lisa Griffin's sister conceded that she was occasionally depressed about her personal life.
It's official tonight. Fort Worth's next police chief will not be from Fort Worth. The 2 finalists are Troy Lee Majors of Springfield, Missouri, and Thomas Wyndham of Los Angeles, California. Fort Worth Deputy Chief Homer Clark was passed over, and he is obviously bitter.
I'm more than disappointed. I guess you could say I'm disgusted with the city's continued proclivity to believe that no one in this city, particularly the 5,000 city employees, has the competence to run any department in the city.
No, I guess I'm disappointed that an unsuccessful candidate would choose to be so openly critical of the process.
Harmon says he chose Majors and Wyndham because they are the best candidates. not because they're outsiders. He hopes to select the new chief early next month.
State officials are looking into allegations of child abuse at a Baptist home for abused children. The Department of Human Resources has removed all of the children from the children's community in Garland. Channel 8's Peggy Waymeyer reports the pastor in charge denies all allegations.
The children's community was intended to be a refuge from abuse and neglect. It's a religious shelter where abused children could heal their emotional scars and learn about the love of God. But now their caretakers are being investigated for child abuse. The Department of Human Resources will not give details of the allegations, but a spokeswoman says an initial investigation warranted the removal of all the children. 22 children lived in these homes. They were cared for by 6 house parents who had no former experience. All of them have been forced to resign. Even so, the man who asked them to leave says they're not guilty.
If I thought for 1 minute that anyone out here that was employed by this ministry would harm a little child or abuse a little child, they'd have never been here in the first place. They'd already been dismissed. I have not seen any abuse. I do not believe there's been any abuse.
Starks is pastor of Jupiter Road Baptist Church, which has operated the children's community since it opened in January. The church paid for the facility in cash with $2 million in donations from members. The church also runs the Dallas Life Foundation, a ministry which feeds and houses 47 children and street people. Stark says his children's home gives abused children another chance at life. His brochure says the licensed children's community serves as a real home to the children with loving house parents who demonstrate to the children a proper home environment. That's what state officials are investigating today. In the meantime, Pastor Stark says he's not worried.
The allegations that's made and what the world says really doesn't affect me. It's what I know is right. What I know is right. I thank God for this. It gives us an opportunity to fine-tune our engine.
Peggy Waymeyer, Channel 8 News.
The Houston judge who last spring ruled the no-pass, no-play rule unconstitutional today did an about-face and upheld the statute. State District Judge Marcia Anthony also refused to delay enforcement of the rule, which blocks failing students from extracurricular activities. A class action suit on the merits of no-pass, no-play goes to trial next month.
This has been a day of ups and downs for artificial heart recipient Tony Mandia. Doctors had hoped to give Mandia a human heart last night, but the donor heart failed. Mandia then slipped into critical condition with reduced brain function. But later he rebounded and was able to speak with his brother and ask for something to eat.
500,000 Americans who suffer from Parkinson's disease may be encouraged by a finding announced today in Dallas. Researchers told the Society for Neuroscience that they have apparently reversed the debilitating effects of the disease in monkeys by transplanting brain cells. Parkinsonism is usually marked by trembling in the arms or legs and muscle stiffness. Experts have long felt the problem is related to a chemical imbalance in the brain. Now, researchers at Yale University and the University of Rochester have successfully transplanted brain tissue into monkeys suffering from an ailment similar to Parkinson's disease.
When we transplant the cells that are known to be lost in Parkinson's disease and after MPTP, those cells seem to survive for at least 2 months, and the animals, one animal showed a very striking, almost complete reversal of the Parkinson's disease after the transplanted cells were put in place.
Researchers stress more animal studies are needed to see if the transplantations can be applied to humans.
The Mexican government is refusing to send food to thousands of people who will not leave their earthquake-damaged neighborhoods. The homeless have become a serious political problem for Mexico's ruling party. Channel 8's Scott Pelley has the story in a close-up report, Mexico 1 month later.
The Plaza of the Three Cultures is a place of great pride in Mexican history, but at the moment it is a place of great embarrassment for the Mexican government. The plaza features an Aztec temple, Spanish colonial church, and modern buildings, summing up Mexico's varied past. But now the plaza also foreshadows a troubled future. Many homeless victims of the 2 earthquakes have built huts and set up tents on the Aztec ruins. This is one of dozens of volunteer relief camps in the city. The government asked the refugees to move to official camps, but the homeless have refused. They believe that if they leave their neighborhoods, they will never be allowed to return. Now the government has cut off aid to the volunteer camps. All of the food, clothing, and medicine in these camps comes from private sources. Christina Sacey is a divorced mother of 4. She and her daughters lived in a nearby apartment building. A government official told her she would find a tent and plenty to eat at a government camp outside the city, but she refuses to go. She believes she would be a victim of the government's attempts to reduce the population downtown.
They started doing that before the earthquake, and now their main intention, it seems, they want as many people as they can out. Doesn't matter where they go.
So what began as an emergency relief camp has evolved into a political statement. These people are afraid to go to a government camp for fear that they might lose whatever clout that they have. They intend to stay here despite a lack of basic necessities so that they can pressure the government into finding them new places to live.
The administration of President Miguel de la Madrid has already been criticized for not pulling the country out of its economic crisis. Now it is blamed for ineffective earthquake relief. Some government officials believe that people like those in the Plaza of the Three Cultures must be resettled quickly before the next era of Mexican history is beyond the control of the ruling party. Scott Pelley, Channel 8 News, Mexico City.
A key employee at DFW Airport has turned in his resignation.
That story is next on tonight's update, and also ahead, from small cars to tiny computer chips. American industry continues to lose the technology race with Japan. We'll have a close-up report.
Plus, you'll meet the best teacher in Dallas who's banking $6,000 in awards to prove it.
And on tonight's Perspective, why a visit to the state fair is risky business for fun seekers.
USA Weekend is MPGs and IRAs. It's wheels and meals and money deals and bikes and beaks and backs and fronts. It's what's to read and who's to know. It's every place and it's nowhere but the Sunday Times Herald.
7:15 a.m. He leaves Dallas for Austin. 12:35, subject leaves Austin for Houston. 10:35 p.m. our boys back in Dallas. Turning up hundreds of these.
How do they do it?
We're checking it out.
How can they afford to move around so easily? It's all too convenient.
We're overlooking something.
If they win.
Lean on me when you're not strong, and I'll be your friend. I'll help you carry on, for it won't be long till you're gonna need somebody to lean on.
Texas, when you need a truck to lean on, nothing works like a Chevy truck.
Este noticiero será transmitido por la estación de radio KESS-FM 94.
The man who's been in charge of construction and engineering at DFW Airport since it opened 10 years ago quit tonight. Airport spokesman Joe Dealey Jr. says Mike Skanga will be leaving effective November 30th to pursue commercial real estate investments. A task force of Dallas and Fort Worth police officers have been investigating airport construction contracts. A spokesman for the Dallas County District Attorney's Office says the investigation is continuing and it has not been presented to a grand jury yet. DFW Board Chairman William Weatherford told Channel 8 News that Skanga is not accused of anything and Skanga could not be reached for comment.
The Dallas Area Rapid Transit Board tonight took its first concrete step toward building commuter rail lines. The board voted to borrow $90 million in sales tax revenue bonds. The move will give DART the money to begin purchasing right-of-way and to start engineering work on the first rail line later this year. DART is still undecided on which line will go first. DART will have 5 years to repay the $90 million.
The deployment of a new Soviet missile system has U.S. officials upset tonight. Defense Secretary Caspar Weinberger says the Soviet action provides fresh justification for the president's program to develop orbiting defense weapons.
SS-25 violates the SALT II agreement that we are both supposed to be observing. And that agreement permits development of only one new type of ICBM, and their first new type, the SSX-24, is now being tested.
The Soviet Union does not violate agreements which it signs. Our country did not violate SALT II.
The SS-25 is seen as an extremely versatile weapon that will upgrade Soviet military power in Europe. The Soviets, for their part, say the SS-25 is just a new version of an older missile.
The Commerce Department has started an investigation into 8 Japanese microchip makers. 3 U.S. computer chip firms have filed suit, claiming the Japanese are illegally dumping their products on the American market. U.S. officials say they knew the Mostec Corporation in Carrollton was in jeopardy, due in part to Japanese competition. The Mostec plant closed last week, and it is seen as the first victim of the growing crisis in the American microchip industry.
For America's high-tech industry, these are low times. The nation which once dominated the semiconductor field no longer reigns supreme. Channel 8's Byron Harris reports in Part 3 of a News 8 Close-Up.
You're looking at a modern miracle, often taken for granted. This is a memory device smaller than a fingernail, made by Texas Instruments in Dallas. It stores 256,000 bits of information. Through a scanning electron microscope, you can actually see electricity flowing through its tiny circuits. The lines which show up as white are just 10 microns wide. That's about 1/5 as thick as a human hair. Devices like this were invented in the United States, but lately they've been marching to a different tune. It is Japanese. In semiconductors, Japan is beating the United States at its own game. In 1974, just 3 of the world's top 10 semiconductor companies were Japanese. 6 were American. By 1984, 5 of the top companies were Japanese, just 4 were American. In the manufacture of memory devices like you just saw, the Japanese now dominate. Most of those devices are now either made by Japanese companies or by U.S. companies with plants overseas.
The American semiconductor companies have maintained a technological advantage, but they have not, in the high capacity, high commodity products, been able to maintain the jobs. Those jobs have been transferred to Japan.
I believe that without changes, the entire United States industrial base is going to erode to the point of extinction.
The essence of American complaints is that the Japanese have access to the U.S. high-tech market, the largest in the world, while American firms are kept out of Japan by obvious and hidden trade restrictions. And the Japanese semiconductor market is now worth more than $5 billion a year. It's the second biggest market in the world. The Japanese market is big because the Japanese use so many computer chips in the products they export to the rest of the world. These VCRs are among the largest selling electronics products in the United States right now, and a lot of them bear the marks of U.S. manufacturers. But they're actually made in Japan, with Japanese components, and the Americans say they've been unable to crack into that Japanese market. Texas Instruments is a rarity among U.S. firms. It has 4 plants in Japan, but many of the products made there are exported to the rest of the world. And Bill Sick, head of TI's semiconductor division, admits doing business in Japan is not easy.
It's a difficult market, and one has to have a sustained effort there to succeed. It's not closed, but one must never underestimate the difficulty of the effort required to go into Japan.
Some see the issue a little differently. Jim Imai, who advises U.S. companies on how to sell in Japan, says American salesmen there don't bother to learn the language and sometimes sell lower quality products. In short, they don't try hard enough.
We tend to say, buy from us, but we'll do it our way. I think there's 2 sides to this thing. I think that if you talk to some people that are successful selling in Japan, they don't think it's unfair. I think people that aren't selling very much are probably screaming foul.
Irving, Texas, home of Hitachi. If U.S. companies have been sluggish toward Japan, Japanese companies have been just the opposite here. This factory finishes memory devices which are first manufactured in Japan, but soon the products will be built here from scratch. Fremont, California, the new United Motor Company. Toyota and General Motors have formed a joint venture to make cars in the United States here. Japan says it has started more ventures in the United States than we have over there. But Americans in high tech say the Japanese won't buy products from us, even if they are cost effective, no matter where they're made.
We've been very aggressive in international international sales, and specifically in Japan. We've constantly increased our sales organization, our engineering organization, our manufacturing organization in Japan, with no change in percentage of the market.
The Japanese expect smaller profits from their plants. They have lower financing, and cooperation from their government allows them to lose money and still stay in business. Americans say this makes them unbeatable competitors. In Dallas, both Mostech and Texas Instruments have been losing the battle.
Here in Dallas, we have two companies that are losing millions of dollars in trying to compete in that commodity sector.
Some American companies want the U.S. government to force Japan to buy American products, and they're looking at ways to change our system to make it more competitive. Meanwhile, they're implementing plans to help them compete. We'll look into that tomorrow. Byron Harris, Channel 8 News.
As early as next year, we may be getting another month of daylight savings time. The House of Representatives today voted to spring clocks ahead on the first Sunday in April, that's 3 weeks earlier than now, and hold off on setting them back until the first Sunday in November, that's a week later than now. If the U.S. Senate goes along with the legislation by December 31st, the new daylight savings scheme will take effect in 1986.
Well, I don't know how those guys do it. Meddling with nature once again, and it took us this long to teach the chickens from the last time.
Well, and the thing is, about 98% of the people ain't got it straight yet, and that'll finish off the other 2%, and nobody will get to work on time. But Congress, in all its wisdom, will do whatever it's going to do. Meanwhile, we have a little weather to talk about. Kind of a pretty night outside. The clouds will be back, and so will I in just a moment.
That's something more to be mad about in Arizona now, too.
Have a good trip.
I'll miss you.
Call me tonight.
Big jet plane coming out of the sky. You got your Avis Wizard card, now you're gonna fly. Avis makes it easy, easy on the traveler, yeah. Meeting with the top man, quick lunch, shake some hands, you're gonna move.
Avis tries harder to get you in and out fast, and our super value rates are easy on your wallet.
Avis makes it easy, easy on the traveler, yeah.
I'm calling person to person.
Avis, so easy.
DHL knows business is business. In Canton, Ohio or Canton, China, DHL makes more on-time deliveries overseas than Federal, Emery, and Airborne combined. Rely on DHL from Venice, California to Venice, Italy. More deliveries, more places, more experience worldwide. DHL Worldwide Express. Nobody delivers the whole wide world like DHL.
Hi, I'm Mike Hayes. If alcohol is causing you problems, call me. People here understand the hell you've been going through. You can't live with it, and you can't imagine your life without it. Call me. Because you can leave here happier, stronger, and free of alcohol. Call me. I'll be waiting right here.
Raleigh Hills, 1-800-4-CALL-ME. Call Raleigh Hills now.
Have you heard the latest?
Coming up, Entertainment Tonight's got the latest on TV's favorite father figure, Bill Cosby.